It's a typical Saturday, and a long day at the Vanderburgh Humane Society is just beginning. More than 2,700 animals have been dropped off here so far this year. Number 2,696 couldn't be housebroken.
I don't think she has a flea allergy. I think that's mange.
Number 2,697 was sick and treatment too expensive. Number 2,698's owner just couldn't keep him anymore. Most owners are convinced their pet will get a second chance.
You know, the biggest thing we get is, oh, but these guys are really cute. They're all really cute, you know? I mean, they really are. And they say, well, this one's a really good dog. Well, most of these dogs are really good dogs. And just because that person wants to believe that that animal's going to get adopted, they don't want us to burst their bubble and put the guilt back on them. We're going to do midnight. We'll do Rusty.
It's a typical Wednesday, and the kennels are full. The staff must choose which animals will die today. First to go are animals that are sick. The spread of disease here could be devastating. Next, animals that are aggressive. They don't make good pets, and chances are good they'd end up back here anyway. For the rest, it's just a matter of time.
If we do Rusty, it opens an entire run, and that opens one completely. When we do midnight and we do AC, we could move Queenie in with Roxy.
An important thing to remember as you watch this is that none of these animals are strays. The Humane Society simply can't take them. They're all taken to the city's animal control shelter. Well, Animal Control last month alone euthanized nearly 500 animals. The 4 dogs that will be euthanized are chosen because they've been here the longest. To put them down makes room for some new additions, a litter of pups in particular that might have a better shot at being adopted. But the odds aren't good. Of the over 1,200 dogs surrendered so far this year, just under half have found new homes. The news is worst for cats. Fewer than 3 in 10 are given a second chance at life. The rest have to be put to death. The procedure's done in what's called the E-room, behind a locked door at the back of the kennel. The animals can sense or perhaps even smell what happens here. But Kendall Paul and Jason Bochting do what they can to calm the animal. This dog's name is Rusty. A treat, some reassuring words. This is sodium pentobarbital, or Fatal Plus. The blue liquid is loaded into a syringe based on the animal's weight. More for dogs, less for cats. Jason cradles Rusty in his arms, a last embrace for an old friend.
Okay, hold still, sweetheart.
Doing good. It's okay, Rusty. It's okay. Doing good. Hey.
Good boy, Pumpkin.
Good boy.
In seconds, it's over.
No, you never get used to it. If I got used to it, I would quit. I mean, point blank. And I would hope that anybody else that would work in this business would do the same thing. If it ever stops bothering you, you don't need to be in the business. Right now, this is the only thing that we can do because there's so many animals coming in, and I would rather euthanize an animal and give it a very peaceful, painless death than have it get hit by a car, have it sit in somebody's backyard on a foot-long chain and starve to death because they never pay any attention to it. Get in a fight with another animal that's running loose. I mean, there's so many things that can happen, and I would rather that animal go peacefully and with somebody who loves it than one of the other options.
But there's little comfort, just more frustration. Frustration that so many see pet ownership as something less than a lifetime commitment. Frustration that while there are dozens of veterinarians in Evansville alone who spay and neuter pets, hundreds of unwanted animals are born each year. And frustration because for this puppy, this dog, this cat, the clock is ticking. Kathy Pribble, News 25 in Evansville. Imagine a doctor being told to kill a perfectly healthy patient just because the hospital needed the bed. Sounds outrageous, of course, but it's an analogy made often here at the Vanderburgh Humane Society. Midnight was given up last May. His owners were moving and didn't want to take him along. He's sweet and alert and happy to be played with. He'd be a good pet. After being up for adoption for 6 months, however, Midnight's time is up.
Good, Midnight.
Doing good. Hey, did good.
Bye-bye, Midnight. He's a good boy.
I'm the last one to hold them, and I feel when their life does leave, and I can see it in their eyes, and I do feel them going limp, and it's just the understanding of why you're back there. And if you understand why you're back there and that you realize you can't save them all, then it's a little easier to handle, but it can't be done all the time.
We get called all kinds of names. Just in this very lobby, people call us murderers and they call us killers. And yes, I kill animals as a part of the living that I make, and I'm good at it. And I'm glad I'm good at it, because I would hate to think that that animal would have to spend its last moments with somebody that didn't give a damn. And I do. And that's why I can do it.
The emotional strain is almost too great, too deeply personal to describe. Jason is the one who'll try to change the subject, talk about anything. But what's happening here?
And then it hits you and you realize that, gee, the 3 dogs that you put down today aren't existing anymore, and you feel somewhat responsible, but there's some tearful nights, I'm not gonna lie, but you go on.
I remember there were some 6 husky puppies that we had to euthanize, and they cried. They cried the whole time that we were doing it, just because they didn't want to be handled that way. And I've woken up, in the middle of the night, hearing that cry, and sometimes you think, is it worth it?
Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven?
This is called, quite simply, The Wall, a tribute to hundreds of animals that die in this room. It's a place to grieve and sometimes lash out at pet owners whose intolerance or impatience or irresponsibility led them here.
I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven.
On it, too, the reminder of a story, the little girl throwing starfish back into the ocean, and the old woman telling her it will do no good.
And the little girl bent down and she picked up another starfish and she tossed it back into the sea. It made a difference to that one. And I just remember that every time one of them goes home, it made a difference to that one. And if that's the only one that we can help, then that's worth it.
So for every tear that's shed for an animal that dies before its time, another falls for one that's adopted, one that's beaten the odds.
I even have pictures at home of dogs that were in here before, and I still remember who they are, and they still come in, they bring them in, they show them to us, and I get a big kick out of it. I really like that.
And with every adoption, an effort to end this cycle of tremendous highs and lows. Every person who takes an animal home from the Vanderburgh Humane Society must have it spayed or neutered.
We want to stop the problem. We want to put ourselves out of business. That would be the most wonderful thing in the world if we could put ourselves out of business. That would be great.
Kathy Pribble, News 25 in Evansville. This is the collection of name cards that were at one time posted on cages in the Vanderburgh Humane Society's kennel. These are the ones who didn't make it. These animals were euthanized. But there is another bulletin board here, the names and pictures of animals who've become someone's pet once again. Cindy Shadrick and her daughter Megan came to the Humane Society with one mission: to rescue a cat they already knew and loved. Casey belonged to Megan's babysitter, who gave the cat up not long ago. The two say they just couldn't resist bringing Casey home.
She was just going to give her to me, and having two cats, I didn't think it was a good idea. But once she did it, I couldn't live with it, because people don't adopt cats that much, just kittens. And so I decided to go and get her, and we got her. And I think Megan's a lot happier too now.
I'm glad that we got her now.
So for Casey, a long life, a loving family, a home. Even the animals that have yet to be selected can bring a smile to someone's face.
I think Jake's gonna make somebody real happy, don't you?
Yeah.
Does he make you happy when you come visit? When I come visit?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Jake's a sweetheart.
And Jake is part of some important therapy here at the Center for Geriatrics. Vanderburgh Humane Society representative Rachel Wilhite visits the center once a month, always with a four-legged friend in tow.
I give you a kissy. Oh!
He sure did, didn't he?
He's a kisser, isn't he?
Oh, boy.
He's a licker. Jake likes
I
kisses.
don't think he'll quit.
It's called pet therapy. Many of the residents here had animals of their own in years gone by.
Owen, did you have a pet at home? Yeah. What did you have? You got a licker today. A dog? Big dog or a little dog? Medium size?
They can really relate with those easier than they can with some other things now. So pets are just excellent, an excellent source of therapy. We have residents that won't even speak, and we just had a lady who doesn't speak very often, brought the dog over and she was talking. So that's a good example.
Residents also get some personal attention, a visit from someone who cares, a chance to hold the pup who needs them as much as they need him.
Oh, honey, he's a sweet doll. He's a sweet doll. That's what he is. I just love it.
It doesn't always take just one animal for the Humane Society to get its message across. Here at Tompkins Middle School, students have been raising money, a lot of money, to make life better for the animals back at the shelter.
These sixth graders worked for 3 weeks on what they call their Quest class, a service learning project. They chose the Humane Society as the beneficiary of their effort, Pennies for Pets.
Well, we made posters and we advertised over the system, and we brought a little box out of the cafeteria at lunchtime, and kids donated their extra lunch money.
And in those 3 weeks, we reached our goal. We passed our goal, and our grand total was $664.17.
Wow. That's great. Good deal. Well, big hand to you all. This has been the best Pennies for Pets and the most prosperous Pennies for Pets program that we have had.
And with that appreciation, another opportunity to spread the word about spaying and neutering pets.
And why is that so important?
So we'll spread diseases.
Well, that's true. Also, it'll help your pet live longer. They're less likely to have diseases. They'll also be less likely to stray from your home. And also, it cuts down on pet overpopulation. And that is the reason why we have a lot of the animals in our shelter.
I think it's sad that people can't just keep hang on to them and keep loving on them instead of giving them away.
Back at the Center for Geriatrics, where Jake is clearly the center of attention, a plan is in the works. The hope is for the center to adopt its own dog or cat to have here full time. There's more than enough love to go around. Kathy Pribble, News 25 in Evansville.